inspecting our Nuc nursery today. Because I'm inspecting so many hives today, I just wanted to make sure I'm protected, and I put on my rain jacket and veil. So what I've got here is a triple layer of these blue medical gloves, and I just turn them inside out, and now I'm using them again. I find 3 layers is usually sufficient to ward off any bee stings. So I'm just going to start inspecting. Now the entrance is actually here along this side, so I'm going to be inspecting from this side. So I'm actually going to start from the back end here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So our harvest box, which we're using as a Nuc nursery here, can hold 11 or 12 bars, depending. But this one has a honey spacer in it, so I can only get a maximum of 11. So I'm just going to put that bar upside down right there, just so I can have some space to move. Then I'm going to get the propolis off of this here. It's actually pretty cold this morning, so the propolis is going to crack instead of bend. And that's the thing with the top bar hive, is that the bees love to add propolis between the bars as they see fit, for sealing it up or making less ventilation. If there's a small enough gap, the bees will fill it up with propolis. Okay, so here's bar number 10. And there's some bees festooning. So that means that they're likely measuring. And I see a tiny bit of comb, but because it's so late in summer, I doubt it's gonna get filled out very much. Okay, so I'm inspecting this bar, and it looks like it's brand new, just built out. There doesn't even seem to be anything in it. Just give it a little shake there to get some bees off, so I can see what's going on better. And I see eggs in there. So if I look carefully, I can see little white, tiny rice-looking things in these cells. And that's interesting to see because it's such a brand new comb. Usually they're filling it with nectar, but this time of year they've slowed down with the nectar, and what I'm seeing is a lot of eggs. I'm just going to do some bee bumping here, moving it in a small circular motion so that I can put it next to the other bar that I had extracted. I'm going to break the seal again here. And like I was saying earlier, it is pretty cold out today. It's in the 50s or 60s now, by now. So the propolis is kind of crispy. So we see some bees festooning there. So that's looking fine, but I'm just going to press some of this comb inside, just push it more towards the center near the edge, so that they build it and fix it so it's centered properly. And you don't want to do this with a very full, completely full bar of comb that has honey in it, because it's going to be very heavy, and you would risk having the whole thing completely collapse. But then this glob here, I'm just going to actually remove it and I will just drop that into the bottom of the hive so that the bees can clean it out. And now that that comb is looking good, I'm going to put it back in. So it seems like it's stuck to the edges a little bit, so I'm going to take my hive tool and just scrape along the edges. And they don't like that very much. When you're scraping along the edges, you always want to go up instead of down, because you don't want to rip the comb off the bar. Okay, so now that I've broken that seal, I'm going to try to lift it off. On this side I see larvae and some worker brood. And on the other side, I'm seeing larvae and worker brood as well, and some eggs. I'll try to see if I can get in between bars 9, 10, and 11 here. Bars 9, 10, and 11 have nothing on them. So I'll go to bar 6. Lots of bees, lots of nectar. This hive definitely is a lot more empty than the last hive that I inspected. And then here we have a lot of larvae and some eggs. Lots of worker brood, lots of larvae. And the same there. Bar 3. Some drone brood, lots of worker brood, lots of larvae, some pollen. And bar 2, worker brood, larvae. Bar 1, I see some eggs. So I'll just close this back up. And let the bees be bees. I'm just going to see if I can crack this open really quick. There's not much on these last 3 bars in the hive. So nothing on that one. Nothing on this one. Lots of crispy propolis in there because it's still cold. So this comb here has eggs in it. This comb has nectar, worker brood, drone brood, and more larvae. This bar has worker brood, nectar, and larva. I see worker brood, nectar, tiny bit of pollen, and on this side, lots of worker brood. There's a little bit of an attachment here to the side, so I'll just push it down to the bottom and let the bees work on that. So far I haven't seen any queen cells or teacups, and it's pretty late in the season for that anyway, so, but you still just want to make sure. So here I see larva and worker brood and a tiny bit of drone brood, larva and worker brood as well. And on bar 3, worker brood, larva, pollen, lots of pollen. On bar 2, check out all that propolis there. On bar 2, worker brood, larva, pollen, tons of worker brood and larva. And finally, on bar 1, I'm wondering if I'm going to see insulation of honey. You've got to be careful sometimes with bar number 1 because sometimes the comb is actually attached directly to the end wall. So this one, we have some festooning bees. Worker brood and drone brood. Let's get all these back in place.